Hey, nerds. And welcome to the gutter. So you guys okay? Did you like I did the nice version for Bree this time?
Oh, is it? Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here,
All right,
I can shift a little bit and give you guys a little bit more room if you want to be.
It's okay.
You're good? You're good?
We can touch.
I can be weird.
I'll lick
Guys,
your elbow.
it's October and it's gutter nerds. This is our pumpkin.
Let me sit up.
We're in
I'm,
a
like,
weird.
really slouchy.
We're in a. Yeah, you can
slouch
handle.
Okay, here.
I have to make sure this is on camera during October during the podcast, but we're in a weird podcast setup because if you hit Command Fundraiser, you'll know that we're raising money to renovate our entire podcast studio, and so that's why we're here. Because for the next few weeks, it's under remodel.
Just
So,
like rims
stupid
that
question.
There we go.
If you actually do at Command Fundraiser, does it actually come up like that?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. There it goes, right there. And look, we're already $80 of the way to the 500 that we need. So we're doing really good.
Was that including the money that I gave?
You liar. If there
Sarah
have
needs
been
to check her
alternate,
Facebook. I sent her
if there is
$25.
alternate fundraising-y stuff, then you'll have to take that up with Sarah. But this is all viewer raised. Viewer raised. So, guys, today we're going to be talking about the Resident Evil franchise as a whole, and there's a whole bunch of shit to get to. So we're going to do a really brief. Also, we're not going to do multi-camera. We just have the one camera today. So you're just sitting here with us. Sort of old school podcast. This is the way we used to do it.
Oh, way.
Back in the day.
The
Also,
OG way.
if you didn't notice, Mark and Charles, I have
Steve-O
a pink in my hair.
didn't want gray hair, so
Here we
he's got
go.
Pink.
I
like
got
the pink.
I did the I actually like it. Like I think it looks pretty good. Billy Cohen for Resident Evil 0 considered to be severely underrated. Raj, we're absolutely going to get to that, and I absolutely agree with you. And Billy needs to come back. Where the fuck is Billy? That's what I want to know. So what you been playing? Come on, what you been playing?
Monster Hunter.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah,
Did
did
you
you
do
get
anything?
I'm missing 3 pieces to the seasonal outfit, and I'm so stoked because my Palico is a little ghost, and I'm a clown. And it's so wonderful.
That's creepy.
So
Cute.
I created the character and I did the intro stuff in Monster Hunter World, and I could put Palico in like a pumpkin or something like from the get-go, and I was like, that's happening. He's also voiced by Gilbert Gottfried, so whenever we go on a hunt, he's like, I got you, pal. Your Palico's coming to help. So that's,
Oh my
goodness.
Yeah.
So you set your Palico to sound like the closest Gilbert Gottfried voice?
yeah.
Could just check it.
Oh no, mine sounds just like my
I
annoying
was
little
about to
cat.
say,
Just like
that's exactly what I did. I was like, Swiper, come here.
no, Kuro talks all day, every day. He doesn't stop.
Oh, that's freaking Artemis.
What about you, Bree? What you been playing?
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it is
Are you
so much
loving it?
fun. Oh my gosh. I finally got the suit that I wanted.
Do you have a crush on the Spider-Man in game? Because you love Tom Holland.
I do.
And sort of by extension, you love Spider-Man in general.
I do. No, this one is really nice. He's handsome. He's cool. I don't really like MJ too much. But
Why not?
she's okay. I don't know. Fernando's like, she's just a girl. I'm like, she's an angsty girl. She's just freaking annoying. She just gets on my nerves.
I have kind of a side question because
Yeah.
I've been asked and I didn't know how to answer. Are we gonna do a parking lot review of Venom?
So I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to. I'm very much looking forward to Venom. I don't know why. I just like.
I've already seen it. Just kidding.
I've pretty much decided beforehand I'm gonna like it.
Okay.
I've just pretty much decided. So.
I'm just really interested because like now that like there's no touching of Spider-Man, it's just deliciousness and evil. Like I just want to see it.
No one beats Tom Holland.
Raj Linhart's been playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Pokemon Ultra Sun, and Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Shin Megami Tensei is a hard-ass RPG. That's an Atlas RPG, right? Yeah, that's some tough shit. If you want to hear a real horror story, Gilbert Gottfried reading 50 Shades of Grey, I have heard excerpts from that. It's hysterical. You're going 20 funds over the fun limit. We're going to have to give you a 15-minute MJ mission to slow down your fun.
It is, and like I didn't think I was gonna like switch to her, and I was like, oh, cool.
I
wanted to be Spider-Man.
Generally, I enjoy.
I finally got the Spider-Verse Spider-Man suit I wanted. Like he has spikes like this on his hat, and then he's got on a blue jean jacket with pins, and he's got on Spider-Man Converse. It is the cutest
cool.
Spider-Man I've ever wanted.
So he's a punk.
Yeah, but he's into the
like
Spider-Verse
steampunk.
Spider-Man. Like he's gonna be in the
That's
new movie.
cool.
So I love him so much. I'm really excited.
What you been playing?
A bunch of horror stuff, like the Evil Within DLC. Nerdez and I played the first bit of DLC from Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I don't know if you guys saw the clip, but there's a clip where I'm approaching this monster that's laying on a gurney, and I'm like, all right, don't move, don't get up. and then Sarah goes, "Buh," like that, and scares me. And I was like, "Ugh." But as soon as I did that, the monster woke up, so we got double scared because then it was like, yeah, it was really awesome.
Oh my god, I love Sarah.
I heard Predator reboot was bad. Makes me want to watch it. I really
I want
loved
to see
Predator.
that one.
I loved
want
it.
to see I want to see Halloween and the Predator
Yeah,
reboot.
I thought Predator was cool, but I'm really nice to movies these days. I feel like people are super hard on them.
I am.
Did you have fucking fun? Like, yeah, I had fun.
No, I'm pretty harsh on them. Not gonna lie. I don't mean to be. It's just a lot. It's just like everything now is just like a reboot. I'm just like, God.
Yeah.
All my nostalgia is just like, why the fuck
fair.
are we? Because in the Predator trailers, I was like, is this a comedy or not? Because it is.
Yeah.
Because everyone in there was like a comedian, and I was like, I'm generally really confused.
It is.
Well,
now.
and
It's
that's
directed-
why they did Jumanji the way they did. Because if it's more of a comedy, people
No,
won't
I
take
didn't.
it as
I
seriously.
didn't. I knew that was going to be a comedy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And then Venom, I don't know how to rate Venom because I just love Spider-Man so
Yeah.
much.
I love
Everything
Tom
about
Hardy.
it. I don't really care about him. I just like, oof. I'm just like, ooh, Venom.
I want to see Aquaman
No,
too, but it ain't because
Aquaman.
of Aquaman.
Aquaman looks cool.
Oh, are you guys gonna go to Comic-Con? You gonna go? Because I'm going. So I was just wondering.
When is that?
October 20th. Well, we're going on the 20th.
Is it?
it's this
DCC.
month.
DCC.
It's literally-
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
that's like a year
Yeah,
away,
I don't
Brie.
think.
No, it's like 2 weeks
It's a
away.
year. No.
I don't know.
No, my next con is PAX South. That's
Since-
the next one.
Since y'all are like so set on going Saturday, like I just may not go this year.
No.
I cannot take off on Saturdays, man. That's
sorry.
my money's days.
I'm sorry.
I can make what I would spend at PAX on a Saturday.
Oh well.
Who's your favorite Disney
like
princess? I'm kind of looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph as well, though.
South. I'm looking forward to movies. JBC, that's fine. I'm looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph 2. Wreck-It Ralph 2, I very much am already hate. I hate it.
Second one?
Yeah, I already hate it
Why?
just from the trailer.
Is it the princesses?
No, Princess
I
is
got
fine.
really excited about the princesses just because Vanellope's like.
The thing that that bugs me about the first one was I was hoping there's a difference between a family film and a kids film, right? So a family film is something that everyone can enjoy, kids and adults alike. It's made for everyone. A kids movie is a movie made for children, and that's it. Like there's not going to be a lot that adults are going to like. Now, you can argue with me about this. JB does argue with me about this. I think Wreck-It Ralph was a kids movie and not a family movie. And
Yeah, for sure.
And then halfway
See,
through the
I
film,
like
because the
JB.
movie was sold to me as like, this is the Disney video game movie, and it's like brilliant.
It was nostalgia
I'll go-
for us older people.
Even if it is a kids movie, I'm still gonna like things about it. But halfway through, they just abandoned the premise. Again, you can argue with me about it. Abandoned the premise of the video game stuff. And like, okay, we made all our references in the first 30 minutes of the movie, so now we're just gonna do this like they're stuck in the Candyland race thing,
This is the
whatever.
second one, or
This
the
is
This
the
is the first one.
So the second one completely abandons the premise of video games altogether to make
now
it
we're
about
going
the
to the
internet,
internet.
which is, and so it was like, okay, well now you can just fuck off.
See, I enjoyed the first one, but I think it's mostly because like I'm hearing some of my favorite comedians who are so raunchy.
Yeah. Oh, Sarah Silverman and John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly.
Yeah.
I've heard like there
speaking of
are.
him.
I mean, there are comedy, and like hearing them being like, "Oh, you're such a sweetheart." I'm like,
Did you
But
see that
I
new
enjoyed
movie
it.
he's going to be in with Will Ferrell where they're Sherlock Holmes? Did you see that parody?
That's. I mean, I haven't seen it.
looked
That sounds
so
what you're describing sounds
Funny. Oh my
fine.
gosh. I can't wait.
see, I really hope that they come down and like do like a movie something here because Kip really loves doing Will Ferrell's hair, and I'm like, I swear to God, if John C. Reilly's with him, you better freaking take me.
I'm going.
Like, I want to go, but I mean, if my boss can do that, oh man.
Is that a strip of purple or pink, Steve-O? It is a pink. Whoop, it's right here. It is pink. Sorry. Yeah, it's pink. It's right on there. Holmes and Watson looks thriller, says JB. Is that the name of it? Holmes and Watson?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does look funny.
Okay, guys.
I love them together though, no matter
Oh,
what.
they're awesome.
Let's get into the history of Resident Evil. We're going to start with the Resident Evil games timeline. And I'm going to show you. So, our journey begins actually in 1989 with a game called Sweet Home by Capcom for the family computer, the Famicom, right? So, this was based on the movie, but they actually added a bunch more to the story. And it's sort of a horror RPG. With sort of NES style graphics. And the story was about these group of people that go into this abandoned house, like dilapidated, rundown house, because there's valuable art there. and trying to get the art out sort of before the place collapses, but also it's like haunted as shit. And so that's the premise of Sweet Home. So fast forward to 1996, and the PlayStation is out, the PS1, and they basically attempt a reboot of Sweet Home.
Okay.
Is what the original concept of Resident Evil was going to be, which grew into, what it is now. But we get to Resident Evil on the PlayStation 1. Now,
oh, those graphics. So cute.
I still have those games.
There are different versions of all of the Resident Evil games and different ports, and sometimes there's 1,000 iterations of something, but I'm going to be mentioning the systems at which they premiered on. Like if they're the systems that they premiered on. And so there was a Resident Evil Director's Cut also, and the Director's Cut was supposed to have, there is an FMV, like a full motion video at the beginning of the game, acted by real people to be the intro, and they cut it down for the US release, like they took out a lot of the blood and stuff, and they were going to add it back in for the Director's Cut in addition to the dual analog control sticks and the rumble feature, but then they decided they didn't want to uncensor that, so really the Director's Cut is just, you can use a new controller for it. But have you guys played the original on PlayStation Resident Evil?
No.
Yes.
You have?
Yeah, it's been a really long time, though.
Do you have any memories or anything that stands out about this game for you?
I just remember running into walls all the time.
So yeah,
it was the camera angles. I was like, wow, this is cool. But then it was like, where am I going?
So yeah, the game is done. There's no dynamic camera. All of the angles are sort of static camera angles. They usually call it security cam because it's usually up like in a corner of a room somewhere.
Yeah.
And
even that looks like a straight shot from a security camera.
Yeah.
So the premise of this game is the Special Tactics and Rescue Squad are missing some of their team members whose chopper went down over the forest. So they go to try and find them. They get attacked by monsters and end up in this mansion. And now they're trying to just sort of get out and find their team and get out. That's the basic premise of Resident Evil. And then it goes off on the soap opera crazy convoluted journey of holy shit for the next 20 plus years. So
from what I understand, there's been if you're not counting the remix or the HD version or the new collection or whatever, from what I understand, there's over 10 separate Resident Evils that sometimes aren't numbered.
There
yeah,
are,
for sure, dude.
There are, including spin-offs, but not including remasters or anything like that. No, not ports.
HD
but,
Masters Collection, HD Editors Collection, whatever.
Just individual titles.
Yeah.
There are 25 Resident Evil games that we have on the list. So
because they're even about to redo, I think, 2, but
yes,
it's not even going to be exactly like the original 2. Like they're going to include stuff that's never been in there.
Hey, Cal.
Oh,
that's why he's not here. He's solving his computer problems.
We thought
there's
you had
no
to
golf in the rain.
golf.
Way to lie, trying to borrow
Way
my
to lie.
Spider-Man.
So a few things that made Resident Evil scary. It's the first time that we had. First of all, the graphics looked really pretty. Like even back then, this was very, very gorgeous.
Yeah.
The atmosphere was very immersive. The player controlled like a tank. And you couldn't aim very well. You could aim in the direction of things, but not specifically.
They didn't take that away for a really long time.
do you have a Switch yet?
No.
Okay, you do.
I don't have a Switch yet. I'm really close. I'm paying it off.
I saw it today because I haven't played any of them, but I looked through walkthroughs today, and from what I understand, 7 is the latest
newest one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
7's on the Switch. And you actually use your right hand to shoot with that controller.
Okay.
And you take the left one to cock it for reloading. I want to play
pretty
it
cool.
so bad.
There is, and when we get to 7, there is also a VR version of it as well that similarly is like.
I don't know if I want to
that
do VR.
Well, good
like
for
I
you,
know
Cal.
it's
crazy.
Yeah, I just watched a scary game on VR. It's pretty good.
I was at the tourney earlier today. Damn it.
I know it's the future, but VR kind of scares me.
Oh, it was so much fun. My friend has Andrew has an Oculus, I think, and he brought it over, and it was so much fun. I got a little dizzy though, almost wanted to throw up.
See,
Oh, yeah,
I
I
want
can
to play
see
the
that.
Rick and Morty VR because
I played
the
Job
worst
Simulator.
that's gonna happen is something comes at me, you know.
Yeah.
But I would not play Resident Evil on VR.
Yeah. So in the game, you control like a tank. So when you press up on the stick, you walk forward. That's wherever your character is facing. If you press up, that's forward. And you turn kind of slowly. You're not very agile. You don't have a lot of ammo. You kind of have to. You can't kill every monster you come across. Sometimes you have to run. Also, the balls on this game, you had to find an item to be able to save. You had to find an ink ribbon, and there was a finite amount of them. And you had to take that ink ribbon to a typewriter. So you're taking up valuable inventory space. And then, so saving was a pain in the ass in this game too. So it is, if you died, holy shit, So this is, Resident Evil, the original, is hard. You're solving puzzles, you're shooting and dodging zombies, and there are some monsters that you have to kill to progress. So you kind of need to save your ammo. It's intense. It's an intense game.
Yeah, it's such a survival
horror. So Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark. If Sweet Home laid the foundation, Resident Evil and Alone in the Dark are sort of the two pillars of what created the survival horror genre as we know it, which is a scary game that also has some element of survival, not just to stay alive, but in that you have an inventory, you're conserving ammo, your healing items and stuff like that. I don't know if we could really parse the difference between a horror game and a survival horror game, but I'd have to get a lot smarter about that. I'm glad that your PC's working, pal. I'm super glad. So we get to Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2, again, PlayStation, 1998. This is 2 years later now. And we've expanded the story, new characters, Leon and Claire. Both Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2 had 2 campaigns there for each character, and the campaigns were fairly different, and each character had sort of different abilities. Jill ran a little bit faster, but did less damage and had more inventory space, and Chris did more damage, was a little bit slower and less inventory space. Typically, Chris was harder, like the hard campaign, and Jill was the normal or easy campaign.
I like that this is just on loop.
The graphics.
But yeah, this is 2. There's Claire. So the cool thing about Resident Evil 2 is that you have the Leon campaign and the Claire campaign, but once you finish them both, there was a final wrap up boss. Each campaign sort of complemented each other, as opposed to Resident Evil was sort of the Chris version and the Jill version weren't the same, but it was sort of like just retellings of the same story from different perspectives.
Yeah.
Whereas Leon and Claire was a direct complement.
Because I'm pretty sure they did that in, wasn't that 6?
Yes.
Right? Because they did this kind of the same thing.
Yes, actually, yeah. And 6 gets a bad rap, but 6 had some really interesting storytelling elements that we'll get to in a little. And Country Girl says, flashback to my first video game related nightmares. So yeah, my sister, so at the time, I'm in high school playing Resident Evil 2, and my sister is 6, and so she'd come in and she'd be like, can I watch you play video games? And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Have a seat. The zombies in this one. And she's like, okay, I just wanted to hang out. And then nightmares aplenty. Sorry for ruining your life, Country Girl. So yeah, Resident Evil 2 is frequently... So there are sort of 2 types of people. I'm neither of these people. But there's the people that say Resident Evil 4 is the best one, and there are people that say Resident Evil 2 is the best one. That's generally what I hear. We heard from Zamzara. We heard from Caleb Masters on Twitter earlier, and Caleb liked 4 the best, and Zam liked 2 the best. But those are sort of the, where people sit. Next is Resident Evil 3. Very similar to Resident Evil 2. It came out 1 year later. This is 1999, again on PlayStation.
I feel like the graphics are just a twinge, and I mean just a tinge.
They're not as boxy anymore. They have elbows.
They have elbows, and the backgrounds, the static backgrounds are a little bit more polished.
Like, that's trash on the floor, not boxes.
In 3, we bring back Jill Valentine.
Saying that the graphics were trash. I was like, breathe.
This thing's trash. We can bring out Jill Valentine. This is the first game that has a single protagonist. You actually play both as Jill and Carlos in the game, but it is a single story. You don't choose different campaigns. Also, this introduces one of the most iconic Resident Evil characters, Nemesis. The title is actually technically Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, and this is the first enemy in a Resident Evil game that will stalk you and follow you around, and you can't kill it. You can stop it, but you can't kill it.
Oh.
It's terrifying.
So that
Welcome
sucked.
to my nightmare fuel.
I choked on my vape at that, says Shark. As Country Girl is ecstatic that JB is the stable one. Yeah, I'd say JB is the stable one. So after 1999, still on PlayStation, we get to Resident Evil Survivor. This was the light gun game that you... this is its own story with its own character. Well, this not
ball.
quite there. It was an actual little like...
You remember what I'm talking about? It looked like a microphone, but the ball on top glowed.
The
Isn't that what it
PlayStation
was?
Move was on the
That.
PS3. This
Okay.
is two
This is way
generations
before.
before that even.
Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, I'm a little confused.
No.
Okay, I'm glad you know what I'm talking about, because she's
Yeah.
like thinking I'm crazy.
Well,
And-
I was like, wait, that's a little too... that came out way later.
I don't follow time like the rest of you.
Oh, sorry.
You're beyond time and space.
Like, I want to jump so bad because I'm like, I know my favorite game just from the walkthroughs.
I am what I am, says JB. Country Girl says, yeah, I'd huddle beneath this is me she's talking about. I'd huddle beneath the blue one's beanbag chair. I'd watch, but only managed to peek out during the cutscenes of decayed face close-ups. Remember the first one in the first game?
Oh, yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Vividly, Steven.
Vividly. So in Resident Evil Survivor, you're in first-person perspective, and this is, again, its own story. This was actually one that I think I might have played for a moment, but I don't think I ever finished this one, or I didn't play it. So this is one that's missing from my backlog.
I don't even know
but
what that is.
you're just aiming in first-person mode, and you're shooting zombies, and it's supposed to go with the light gun that you could actually like aim, like Duck Hunt on screen. But I was reading on Wikipedia that after the Columbine shooting happened, they removed that from this specific
That's
game.
smart.
So it actually comes back in later games, the light gun thing does. You may or may not be able to actually play with a light gun if you find a copy of Survivor on PlayStation
okay.
1 at this point. I'm not entirely sure. But next, we leave the PlayStation for the first time in 2000 for Resident Evil Code Veronica.
Right.
And I love the shit out of this game.
I did too. I still have it. It was pretty cool.
This is
The camera
one of
angles
the
were
ones
so
that I
sucky,
really
though.
liked.
Similar to the original
very
3
cool.
Resident Evils, it's a more polished version of those.
Yeah.
So now you can, and actually they may have added the quick turn in 3, but if you pull back and hit run, you'll do a 180, which you didn't used to be able to do. You had
And
to
that made
spin
everything
your
10
character.
times more terrifying to me.
Being able to 180?
Yeah, like 'cause you would just turn around so fast, and like sometimes things would just be behind you and just freak me out.
Oh.
She's an easy jump scare.
I am,
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
but I love every moment. Like scare me.
So the Resident Evils 2 and 3 and Survivor and Code Veronica all use CG cutscenes. As of right now, Resident Evil, the first one, is the only one that uses full motion video cutscene in it. Everything else is
So-
CG after that.
I have a side question.
Yeah.
I know we're off of it now, but the previous one,
Yeah.
it to me anyway, it compares a lot to the first Game Boy Color. I don't know if you have it down.
Uh-huh.
So I guess my question is like graphics versus console versus like
Like your
Handheld?
handheld.
Like I don't know if you guys
Game-
played it, but like would you have a preference of playing this one or the Game Boy Color one?
So I think that the graphics themselves don't necessarily matter, like whether they're shitty graphics or 8-bit graphics or Game Boy graphics. You can still atmosphere if you try, It may not be as scary. You may be right. It may not be as scary, but
I know me. Like
I don't think
when
I would.
Well, when I do jump scares, I probably would have played on the Game Boy just because I had one at the time and I would have been all over this. But if I get scared, my hands get clammy, and I can just imagine I'm playing. I'm like, oh god! And then it's
Well,
gone.
my Game Boy's broke.
Yeah.
Claire, we come back, Resident Evil 2's protagonist. Claire is back. She's looking for her brother Chris. So we're sort of blending the Resident Evil 1 and 2 characters now, it's world building. This was world building way before Marvel did it in movies, right? Like different characters, different parts of the world. Umbrella Corporation, the Wesker from the original game comes back as the villain in this one.
Oh, spoilers.
This is very much a classic Resident Evil. This is sort of the last time we get that very classic Resident Evil.
Yeah, for sure.
Tanky control, shitty shooting. I think there's still ink ribbons in this one, if I remember right. So, yeah. But this was also the first one not on PlayStation. This launched on Dreamcast. It eventually came out for PS2 and
Later
Xbox
on,
360.
yeah.
And you can play it on anything now.
Because they updated it.
And they've
for us.
updated it since then, yes, for sure. So after this is the one that you were talking about, Lauren. This is Resident Evil Gaiden on the Game Boy Color, 2001, 1 year after the Dreamcast version.
So this isn't a good example, but I did watch a couple videos of both. And at least from what I could see, the Game Boy Color graphics were really close to the original PlayStation graphics that I could tell. And this doesn't
I see
give
what you're
you-
saying.
This doesn't give, this screenshot doesn't
Yeah.
give you a great comparison shot, but at least from what I saw, it was really close.
So
Yeah.
this is, for lack of a better word, a little more action-y. The way that combat is set up in this game is you sort of go into a
this.
combat screen. This is the combat screen, sort of like in an RPG. And do you see that yellow box
You have to hit it
above Leon?
You have to
It
hit it in
swings
that
left
blue.
and right, and you have to hit it in the
right
white.
on- no, I thought it was right in
A
the blue.
white is a hit and a blue is a critical.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
And so that's, like a headshot, basically.
Yeah.
And so that, it's a little actiony, but you still had the exploration and finding stuff. It was not really puzzly,
Yeah.
more explorative, and sort of took some top-down
Strategy.
RPG elements to it as well.
Yeah.
But but very well-produced game on the Game Boy Color, like you said. Like those graphics are pretty remarkable
Game Boy
for a
Color versus
yeah,
PlayStation.
absolutely.
I would have always said PlayStation, but like with this comparison, it's really difficult for me to say, oh, Game Boy had this one or PlayStation had this one in the bag, because those two games,
To
if
you, they look very similar.
the graphics are up to par on both. And I mean, I still remember playing my Game Boy Color and thinking back, I'm like, man, that was so pixelated. But even now, you see the comparison, you're just
Yeah,
like,
the graphics weren't that bad because I would play like Star Wars on it. It wasn't too bad. It was just the lights for me. Like
Yeah.
I already
Oh,
had
I
bad
hate those
eyes,
lights.
and with the PlayStation, I could play in the dark.
Yeah.
like
I
that
was
was
like
the
this.
only thing. And then if you did want to play with the light on the Game Boy, it was that big contraption, and it was like, I'm good. I'm just gonna play on the
Right.
PlayStation.
I bought one of the swizzle ones and I had to like move it so I was like this.
Yeah,
and it
and then-
wasn't
Oh,
glaring.
Yes.
yeah.
So I'm just
lighting
like-
a Game Boy was a thing back in the day.
Our Game Boy Color struggle.
Yes.
So this is actually the first return to Resident Evil to Sony system. This is in 2001 on the PS2. This is a Survivor 2, the same first-person aiming, shooting thing.
You had to choose the spider scene.
Oh.
Is there a problem with the big giant tarantula?
Yeah. She's afraid of spiders.
I have arachnophobia. Which
Really?
You should, yeah.
Change it. No.
As spooky as I love to be, and this is for everybody, as spooky as I love to be, Lauren does not play with spiders.
Lauren
I
really doesn't.
I've called into work because there was a spider on my car. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter how big they are. I will wake up. I'll wake up Peter. I'll wake up Chris. I'll be like, you get your ass out here and you kill this shit.
Someone save me!
I don't play
it.
anything with 6 or more legs. I'm not about.
Because she's like that with spiders, and I'm like that with grasshoppers. Oof.
Grasshoppers ain't gonna hurt
Oh
you.
man. Oh man.
What about crickets? What about crickets?
No.
She doesn't do anything.
I don't do
with
anything
those
that
funky
jumps.
legs.
No,
No
yeah.
jumps.
No.
Frogs?
I can do frogs.
Okay.
But, oof.
Yeah, we'll do it
Grasshoppers,
different.
locusts,
get
crickets.
into
Can I
our
pet the
fears
spider? Also,
later.
yeah. Yeah, we'll do a fears podcast.
It
We'll do a
will
fears
be
segment
okay,
later.
Lauren.
For sure.
That's
So,
not adulting.
This is the.
I'm perplexed by your hashtag.
But the
He
yeah.
just wants to pick on us because he's not here to do it.
Making me all behooved and stuff.
First-person aiming and shooting here on the Code Veronica version of Survivor 2, but this was sort of just a retelling of Code Veronica. So to me, this is a complete waste of a game. This
Oh,
is one I never
really?
played.
I've never even heard of these.
I liked the
survival games.
graphics. I couldn't tell you about gameplay, but this one.
If it was its own story, then I would play it.
Graphics
but-
wise, this one actually took it for me. This one and the Game Boy Color one, just because it looked really interesting
Yeah.
and to be because this is what 2002, 2003.
It's 2001 right now. This one is 2001.
But even being the case, like I pegged it for like 2005, 2006.
You thought it
for
was later.
graphics.
Yeah.
And I mean, to have had those graphics that early, I thought took it.
But it's weird because when you think about, so Resident Evil started on the Sony PlayStation, like on the first one, but then it strays far away from Sony in terms of launch titles, like for a bit. So like I said, this Survivor 2 retelling of Code Veronica in first-person mode was PS2. This is launched on PS2 in 2001. After that, we have the remake of the original Resident Evil, and this came out on the GameCube. This was 2002. And this was part of a handful of GameCube exclusives now that Nintendo and Capcom were doing. Yeah. And they they eventually came out for a million other systems as well. But for a while, you could only play this and a few others on GameCube. So added enemies, completely updated the graphics from top to bottom. This is a scary as shit game.
I mean, look at that thing.
Yeah, same back the old way with the controls. You could hot your knife now. You didn't have to go into your menu to use. You could just pull it up with the left trigger now, but you still had like saving with ink ribbons and stuff. But
no,
this is even available.
Girl when
so
I
back me up.
Didn't play any of these. I was like, ooh, Animal Crossing GameCube. Ooh, I was like Harvest Moon. I'm all about it. Like I was never into these games until I got older.
I feel like anytime we have like a crossover between like PlayStation, Xbox, or Nintendo or what have you, anytime I've seen a horror game on GameCube, I feel like it's 10 times worse. not like bad worse.
No,
but like,
yeah, sometimes
it's
scarier.
nightmare fuel. It's intense and like this is a great shot for that because that's GameCube.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
like,
for real.
Nintendo's like, oh, little kids,
and
then they
Eternal
come
Darkness
out with
on
this
GameCube.
shit.
Is scary as hell too.
Yeah. So for sure.
Velocidoda says, if you don't touch anything with 8 legs, how are you going to get Spider-Man powers?
Listen, it touches you
That's
first.
a good point.
I think I would rather
live your life without Spider-Man powers.
Well, it's a YouTube video, but I always go back to if I was going to choose powers, I would want somebody to ask me if you could choose one power, what would it be? And everybody always choose Wolverine's claws.
Regen? Oh, the claws.
Just the claws. But the video ends because they're in such pain and they're bleeding all over the place. They can't regenerate. And that's the problem. My thing, I would regenerate. And then I don't give a shit what spiders come because they ain't gonna hurt me.
And Mirage, you're right. I agree with you. Resident Evil 1 on GameCube remake is better than the PS1 Resident Evil, and this is true. They ditched the FMV thing from the get-go. They did it with CG. It's all very cohesive. They expanded on a lot of the puzzles. This is, for lack of a better word, a perfect remake. This is what a remake should be. It is a perfect combination of things that you are used to with a new skin on it, with brand new shit that you have to deal with, and it's enough new content to feel like a new game, like a new addition to the series.
I want to reach out to Mirage. Thank you, because I'm with you 100%. 100.
And thanks for agreeing with me about MJ.
Yeah. In the same year, also a GameCube exclusive for a long time.
Oh yes, I am such a fan of Gwen Stacy. Don't get me started. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna cosplay as her tomorrow again in her actual like blonde wig because I did it with an afro. So
is Gwen in the game?
I don't know yet, but
Okay.
Fernando has given me hints that she may be. She is in the new Spider-Verse, and they've cut her hair.
Okay.
Like she has a shaved head.
Okay.
They've included a lot of people from the Spider-Verse. Like there's a
love
girl
Spider-Gwen
named
Sharp.
Penny Parker, and she is Peter Parker like later on, but her spider power is a robot. Like she's a mech suit. And she's like
that's cool.
And she's in Tokyo. Yeah, she's really cool. And she's going to be in there too.
I'll dig it. So
Can someone tell me what Mirage just posted? Because I don't know what that is.
it's a snake.
It's a snake.
Head.
Is
Yeah.
it?
So this is Resident Evil 0. And this is actually a very classic Resident Evil sort of setup. It still uses some of the same camera angles, but the camera's a little bit more dynamic. It'll sort of follow you.
And even though the cameras suck, that was like the best part of Resident Evil. Like no one could do those camera angles as well as them.
So I actually have a question on this one.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm like scratching my mic right now. So on this one, I kept watching the gameplay, and I felt like right now it shows that it's a chick, right?
Huh?
The one shooting is a chick, right?
Yes.
Okay. because in all of the
Don't eat it. It's all good.
They come towards her like they're going to ambush her,
Uh-huh.
but they're so slow. I feel like in gameplay it wouldn't be as
It's
scary.
anticipation.
Is it?
It's more like
Okay.
anticipation.
What you have to have enough room to get by them, and if you get near them, they'll grab you. So in this situation, if you find yourself backed into a corner, like this is sort of what makes Resident Evil scary, is the camera angles are sort of static-ish, so it's hard to see what else is in the room,
around,
what else is around you, and then even though they're slow and shambly, if they corner you, your best bet is to use just enough ammo to either stagger or eliminate one of them to give you enough room to sort of zeke your way through it.
Yeah, I know in some of them later on, if you would get like pinned down, you could do like tap your X or your square, and you could push them off or something like that.
Yeah, and in the remake, actually, in the last one that we talked about, you had counter moves. So Jill had knives and Chris had grenades, and if you got grabbed, you could use your counter and use a knife and stab them in the head, or shove a grenade in their mouth and kick them, I think.
So they fall
but
back.
they fall back, but you still have to shoot them and then they explode.
Because a lot of the people in Resident Evil are slow.
Yeah, well, and that's why I was like,
it's
just
just like,
it doesn't seem like it would be a big deal, but if they grab you, that makes a lot more
yeah, it's
sense.
just like a lot of anticipation. Because like you said, with the cameras, you could be looking over here, but you would not even know what was over there. It was just scary.
100% correct. Rebecca Chambers, she's one of the side characters that you find in the original Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 0 is a prequel. These are the events that lead up to what calls in Alpha Team. Or
to
Bravo
one.
Team in the first one.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
this is Bravo Team and sort of what happens to them and sort of the beginning of the leak of the virus and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Also, the interesting thing about this one is the game is not co-op, but you do have the two protagonists again, Rebecca and Billy, and you switch between them. So you switch between them to accomplish puzzles. So you'll grab something from Rebecca, have to put it in an elevator and then switch to Billy to get that item to use it. And so you use them. Oh,
okay.
You hot swap between them, basically. It was an interesting concept, and this is one that we're going to play on Saturday Morning Retro. Not this Saturday, but starting the weekend after that, I believe.
Oh, nice.
So we'll play through it together, y'all. It'll be fun. Resident Evil 0 is also one that you can get on pretty much anything now. You can get it on Xbox One, like PS4. It's available digitally. And I'm pulling my Stream app back up so I can get back to swapping as we were doing.
By the way, for those of you who can't see it, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, this is our Stream Puppy app. It's a little glitchy. It sort of loses connection sometimes. It's a little frustrating. But, so we're now back to the PlayStation 2 again. This is still no main entry on PlayStation. So it's been Resident Evil 3 was the last one in '99, and now we're at 2003. This is Resident Evil Dead Aim for the PS2. This is another light gun game. This one is in third person while you're exploring, but when you go into first person, you use the gun to aim and shoot. And
so this is a first person screen.
Yes,
okay.
This is the first person screen, and
it's
a decent story. And you use the GunCon 2, which was the gun that they had Time Crisis with on the PS2. It had a little D-pad on the top of it that you could move around and do stuff. Always burned Crimson Heads are awful in the remake of Resident Evil. You're absolutely correct. Jumping forward, still on PlayStation 2, we have Resident Evil Outbreak. This was the online one. So this required
seemed really cool
the modem, and it required the hard drive, so you had to buy extra shit for your PS2 to play it. It was also hard as balls. You had to do stuff as a team. You couldn't really communicate with each other unless you're sitting in the same room, so that's how we did it. We sat in the same room and just land it, basically.
Yeah, you had to.
It was super hard. You had to replay the scenarios sort of over and over because you were going to die. So you'd do a little better each time and go through and learn the puzzles and stuff. Also, if you died in this one, you turned into a zombie and could now attack your friends.
Oh, cool. Like Left 4 Dead. That's fun.
Yeah.
See, y'all have different ideas.
Of fun?
Yeah, because if I'm going to attack my friends, I'm just going to kill myself.
Oh, no, I was ready. I was cool.
See, I'm loyal to the end.
It's fun when you finally get to be a zombie, though.
And there was a file too, for the record. There was a sequel. I played the first one, and I think we may have finished it. Like I said, it was hard as shit. The second one I bought, but I don't think I ever played it. and then by the time we got around to playing it, the servers were down. So you can't play these games right now. I really hope they bring them back. I would love to see these games remastered. Like I said, if they are probably the hardest Resident Evil games in this entire pantheon, disease outbreak. And yes, Mirage, we are absolutely getting to those. They're coming up not too far away. Next is the one. If you weren't like an OG Resident Evil person, this might be your first Resident Evil game. It's Resident Evil 4. This is widely considered to be the best Resident Evil game, and some people will probably say one of the best games of all time, period. I don't agree with that, but it was certainly like the step forward for the franchise, right? So now you have the camera behind Leon.
Yes.
A single protagonist. You're protecting Ashley, so there's still the male.
God,
There's a lot of male femaleness in
Because
in
like
these
you
games.
had to hide her. Like
Yes.
when you were gonna fight, you would have to be like, go hide or go somewhere else, or like you had to put her in places. Like
She did a pretty good job of like not being in your
yeah,
way.
no,
though,
she
like, when
really
you
did
aim.
though. But like,
Fight.
yeah.
Sorry, but like,
this was
hello?
my little sister's first, and I remember us playing it because she was like, we were just now discovering anime too, and so she was like, everyone
it
just
completely took
yeah,
you over.
everyone was just like, Leon is so hot, and I was like, he's a video game character. I don't really know about that.
What's wrong
And then
with
I
you?
like discovered, and I was like, oh, I love him so much, and then I just like love the game, and actually didn't play this one. I watched Deja play the whole thing.
Ada Wong is waifu. See, I love Ada too. I
did
very
like Ada
much
Wong
like
a lot.
Ada.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
She's awesome.
It was
Yeah,
this
me
one
too.
This one is really good though. Like
Don't make fun of us.
I
No,
would-
I just like I can't say. Oh yeah, like
you should play this one though.
You
It's
should
really
play it,
good.
yeah.
It is not. I don't really consider any of the Resident Evils like my favorite, but it's a really good scary
And this
game.
is 4.
This is
4. So 4 adds the ability to find aim for the first time in a main game like that weren't the light gun game. So you can aim over the shoulder, aim at legs or heads. So you could, if someone's running at you, you can shoot them in the knee and they'll fall. Stuff like that.
It's just the scariest part was you stood still.
Yeah, you can't see. You still can't see behind you.
Yeah.
But you have the dynamic camera, the over-the-shoulder camera.
And you shooting and you aiming and you just like you can't like move it.
It's a little bit more in the actiony than
Yeah.
the survival horror thing because you pretty much have enough ammo the whole time. It's very rare you're hurting for it, and you save sort of at chapter checkpoints now.
Yeah. The cool part
JB
too was like the herbs were like little plants, and you had to go pick them up, and they were like just plants laying around for your health, and you could craft items and stuff.
Oh, so you smoke weed in this game? Oh.
You crafted.
Heal me up.
You could craft like pills and stuff like that. It was really cool.
JB says, this was my first. She treated me lovingly, gently, and then tore me apart viciously. So, again, CG, something else to point out about the Resident Evil games, even the first ones, this is one of the few Japanese-made games where the dialogue is recorded in English, and they have Japanese subtitles. So the original recordings in I think the entire Resident Evil series is recorded in English. So that's unusual. But so yeah, and this one a little bit more on the action scale, and part of the reason why I absolutely love this game, I totally get why this is people's favorite, but no. I was going to say
like,
the
fighting
dialogue is so
cultists-
bad, but that's sort of the whole.
That's the whole point.
Thing
Yeah.
and the whole
I want to say it's the whole point, but it's
Yeah,
ooh, they're
you're
all
not
just
wrong.
I
bad.
guess my thing is like any game that actually has like pure evil, so like zombies or mutants or whatever that you're supposed to kill, but also has like human characters that are bad and you feel like morally you should kill them. I'm down. So like this
I'm
cultist
down.
scene, I'm like, okay, 4 is probably what
So
I'll do.
also, this is the we switch now really from. I mean, they're still zombie-esque, but they're not zombies in the traditional sense. They are more like people with parasites that are being controlled.
Yeah.
So we changed tone a little bit, but it's still very So this is the thing that happened with. Hey, JP redeemed an impromptu song, of course. In the middle of this.
I feel like JB's bored with us. Like he
Okay.
just wanted the impromptu.
Okay, I'll get you, buddy. Let me finish up on Resident Evil 4, and then we'll give you a zombie song.
Oh, we?
yeah, we got them.
Sure, yeah, we'll get him. All of us, we can do it. You still have items that you're maintaining your inventory. The Resident Evil 4 came about. This is right about the time Resident Evil 4 came out. By the way, this was GameCube 2005. GameCube exclusive still. This didn't come out into PS4 or PS2, sorry, until later.
Oh, yeah, that was
but
on GameCube.
I keep getting caught up with. I keep starting a thought and not finishing it, and there's a specific thought I'm trying to finish, and I can't remember what it is. But it's gone. It left my head. I'll remember it in a minute and come back, and I'll be like, oh yeah, of course, something about Resident Evil 4. But you have Ashley, who I don't think shows up in any of the other games after that. People love Leon. He's come back from Resident Evil 2, and Leon becomes a bunch of people's favorite. Oh, I remember now. Devil May Cry splits off as a sister game to Resident Evil. So Devil May Cry came about because they were making Resident Evil 4, and it sort of went in a different direction. And the head of the studio, or maybe it was Shinji Mikami, I can't remember who it was, said, like, this is a really cool concept. Like, you have more like ghosts and like things coming through walls and stuff. Let's just make that a different game. So Devil May Cry was originally being Resident Evil 4, and that's why we have that game.
Oh, so I prefer Devil May Cry. It's so much fun.
You prefer Devil May Cry to Resident Evil?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
They're so much fun. Plus, I love, like, Bayonetta, too, so.
Onimusha is also a sister game to Resident Evil. It's like Resident Evil with Samurai. That's cool. Okay, so JB wants a song, a zombie song.
I agree with Mirage. We should just sing Zombie. Zombie.
Wait, okay, how's it start?
What's in your head?
In your head,
Zombie.
JB.
He's got that gravy.
Okay.
That's all he gets.
That's as best we can do, JB.
That was
Miss.
Fantastic.
full support.
Yeah,
Thank
miss.
you.
Oh, we
Great.
can do it.
We can do
sing
it. Jump
a
in
day.
at all.
Relied on y'all. See, got you,
Let us
got you to
carry
do it, though.
So after Resident Evil 4, this is the Umbrella Chronicles for the Wii. There are two of these games. This one came out in 2007 and was similar to the light gun games but using the Wii remotes. So you can
Did you have a Wii?
point and click. That moment when you wake up to singing.
sorry. I love you, Sarah.
We gave it a go, JB. That was the best we could do. This was a fun game. It sort of covered just some random spot ground across different Resident Evil universe. Filled in maybe some holes, whatever. There's a million holes in the Resident Evil plotline anyway.
What
But,
console?
The Wii.
This was the Wii.
Oh,
yeah.
that's why okay. that
And
makes
so you can
sense.
use the reticles and shoot.
Yeah.
And I actually really like this game. I had a lot of fun. It's co-op. I had a lot of fun. After this is Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 is co-op. Resident Evil 5 plays almost exactly like Resident Evil 4, except that it is co-op. And you're in Africa, so there's a lot of like desert landscape and stuff like that. There's jungle
And I mean,
stuff,
the
caves.
graphics are a hell of a lot better.
It's pretty. It is not scary at all.
Yeah, okay, so I wouldn't say
That's
it's
what I was
scary.
noticing.
It is not at all. This is
But
not at all a horror
Everything
game.
I was watching, the only one that actually seemed intense was very, very little of 6 and 7. And like 7's the big, like, not jump scare, but like.
Because they kind
true
of
to
lost
form
their
new
scare
horror.
for a really long time until like
Right.
that's when 7 came out and everyone was like, wow, they're doing it again. But like there for a while, they weren't really scary. But I enjoyed 5. Like I think it got a pretty bad rap. I didn't mind it so much.
So Resident Evil 5 in 2009, which is 10 years after Resident Evil 3, this is the first time a game launches on a Sony system again. So this is PS3 and 360, Resident Evil 5, 2009. And like I said, there's the co-op was neat. Getting able to play Resident Evil with a friend was cool. I didn't hate the game. It just wasn't very Resident Evil-y.
yeah.
And it was action-y. There's some cool shit in it. Jill with her chest jewel, where like,
You could change their outfits too.
yeah, there's that. Wesker's back. I love Wesker. He's
Yeah.
my favorite villain. Chris punches a fucking boulder in this game.
Yeah, I don't know why he.
You know, he's like, "Argh!" This is also Chris at maximum beefcake.
Yeah, he's like
yeah.
just like bodybuilding for
Wait,
days.
hold it.
It's a horror game that didn't scare Steve.
Chris is the
It's
guy.
not
I'm
a
sorry.
super scary, but it's definitely
Sorry.
a horror
You're good,
game.
you're good.
Yeah, I think it's just an action game. Which actually 7 or 6 does this a little bit too. I also don't like Resident Evil Revelations. Yep, and I can understand why. It's okay. It was a nice chorus, says Nerdez up there. Thank you, babe.
Yeah, Steve-O, we got the singing down.
A Dead Rising Resident Evil crossover game.
I don't know that song.
I'd be down for some Resident Evil crossovers. I would,
really
in
don't.
general. Wesker's pretty much the Agent Smith of Resident Evil. Oh yeah, a little bit. I totally get that.
Oh.
So after Resident Evil 5's The Dark Side
Oh, I'd
Chronicles,
play it.
this was the sequel to Umbrella Chronicles on the Wii. This was 2009. Again, light gun, Amy Shooty, co-op-y. It was fun. It's fun.
Amy Shooty.
Co-op-y.
Amy Shooty.
All those Y words.
After Dark Side Chronicles comes Mercenaries 3D. So this is 2011 for the 3DS. This is basically just the action survival mode. There was no real story, I don't think. I think it was just you can play as different Resident Evil characters and you try to last as long as you can in different
grindy
maps
sort of
and stuff like that.
Not bad at all for a 3D.
Oh no, this heavily compared to even the console games that were like super story oriented,
Yeah.
from what I could tell.
Now, this is a story-oriented 3DS game. This is Resident Evil Revelations. This came out for the 3DS in 2012. It is now available for other things as well. You can get it on 360 or Xbox One or whatever you want. But this was more like Resident Evil 4. It was a bit scarier than like 5 was. Like it leaned more into that dark atmosphere kind of stuff because you were on a ship and it was nighttime. A lot of more like the horror tropey kind of stuff. Not a phenomenal game, but it was not bad. It just to me it was just like there.
Yeah.
And at the time, on handheld, this is a really good looking game on a handheld.
Oh, yeah,
console.
yeah.
This is probably the best Resident Evil you get on handheld for probably ever. So after this, we get the first game that launches on PC, actually, along with PS3 and 360. In 2012, we get Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. This was a 4-player cooperative shooter game, sort of like it's like a tactical shooter, like SOCOM or not exactly Rainbow Six Tactical, but just you sort of each chose. It was a cover-based thing. You each had different abilities, and you were going through sort of Resident Evil 2 timeline in different areas than what those games covered.
I never got it because everyone gave it a really bad, no one liked it. I remember it being really bad.
I liked Operation Raccoon City fine, but I like a lot of co-op almost no matter what.
Yeah.
So if you can still play this, I think it's worth a shot. It's probably not as bad as people said it was. There is a game that is universally panned as being completely awful, and it's coming up here in a second. It's actually, sort of this one, but not this one. This is Resident Evil 6. So people gave Resident Evil 6 a really hard time, and I understand why. You have 3 different campaigns in this game, actually 4.
Yeah.
And you can choose between different pairings, and they're all it's all co-op. So you have Leon and Helena. You have Chris and his army buddy. I can't remember his name. And then you have Rebecca, I think, comes back, and Wesker's son is the 3rd campaign. Now, each of these 3 campaigns, you can start with anyone you want. They all intersect each other at different points. And if you're playing, for example, Leon and Helena's campaign, and you get to the cross-section point, it will check to see if someone else is playing one of the other campaigns at that point, and so it will cross your game with them, so you come into contact with other players playing those Resident Evil characters. So a really cool storytelling element. That's baller as shit. And then when you finish all of them, you unlock the Ada quest, and she, again, intersects with other people. So you can, as Ada, help other people playing their boss battles from different things.
So if your friends were playing at the exact same time and happened to be at that part, you could technically?
Yes, I don't know if you could actually
randomized?
Choose. That's a good question.
Okay.
I don't know enough about that's a good question, though, to be able to do that. But the Leon and Helena was very dark and scary and zombies, and that was very Resident Evil-y. The other 2 were more like Resident Evil 5, and that's sort of the thing is people are like, it's kind of actiony. There's quick time events.
Yeah, because I enjoyed the first one, and I was like, what the fudge are we doing anymore?
Yeah, and the Leon and Helena campaign was really good. The other thing that I liked about it is even playing co-op. I was playing with my roommate Mike at the time, and we were barely getting by the skin of our teeth. We were making it, but whenever we finished a section or firefight, we were basically out of ammo. And I loved that feeling of like, we are scraping by just barely, but he hated that feeling. He was like, I hate this fucking game because we never make headway. Anytime like we finally find some ammo, we're attacked by it and I have to use it, you know? And I'm like, no, I
guess
really...
that's the challenge of it, though. Like, that's Resident Evil.
That's what I would have said. That's what I did say. But anyway, this game...
Because I think people made it way more than it needed to be. Like, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad.
It was not as bad as everyone presumed it to be. Like, it was decent. And it was really cool.
I mean, even I would play it as much as you're like, well, there's some glitches or whatever. But
no, it was pretty cool.
It seems like a decent game that I think I'd pick up.
Yeah. I'd like to know about the friend thing, though. That's a good question. Resident Evil Revelations, the 3DS one, had a sequel. It was released in episodes 1 through 5, on Xbox One. This is also the first current-gen Resident Evil, PC, PS3, and 4, Xbox 360 and 1, and PlayStation Vita. This came out in 2015. And
I didn't even know they were putting Resident Evils on PC by then. I thought 7 was the only one, to be honest.
Yes, yeah. Operation Raccoon City was on PC. It was the first one to launch on PC, and then PC gets Revelations 2 also.
Oh, yeah, but that's when PC kind of started to...
As often as you go gambling, did you not put the Resident Evil slot machines on there?
I haven't seen them.
Okay, because I saw a couple of videos on them, and you, like, it works like a slot machine. You have to get, like, certain bars and stuff, but you actually progress the game if you... Like, if you put in so much money, you actually choose how you're shooting zombies and stuff like that.
Oh,
and I was
cool.
like, man, I would peg Stevens going to talk about this for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'd play that. So this game very much follows that sort of Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5 kind of gameplay. This is one that is definitely like steeped in the horror side of it, but it wasn't to me. It wasn't terribly scary. But not in the same way that we were talking about Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 was very bright and just like lots of action set pieces and like midday stuff.
It was so bright.
Yeah.
Because you weren't in Africa.
There was
like
this much sun.
Just, and all the desert, like it was so much yellow saturation. It was just like, what the fudge?
Yeah.
And then there was like a lava
This
scene.
is a shit universe to live in.
You mean like our universe or like Resident
JV.
Evil?
I called you game guy.
Both.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the one that everyone hates. This is also the only one that doesn't have Resident Evil in the title. It's just called Umbrella Corps. And this is a PvP, like a 4-on-4 or 5-on-5, with Resident Evil elements and zombies, and you play the Umbrella Corps people. And it's supposed to tie in a little bit to Resident Evil 7 in the way that the Umbrella group works now, kind of. But it is overall just very bad. This was only on PC and PS4. This one came out in 2016.
I mean, already I'm just like, I don't think I'd play it. Like,
Yeah, because they didn't come out with anything until...
Ugh.
Or did they? Did they come out with stuff after this one?
After this one?
Or did they came out with 7, right? Like
7.
Last year?
Yeah, 7 was in 2017, last year. PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
You played the crap out of this, if I'm not mistaken.
I streamed this with Nerdez, and this is my favorite one. This very much gets what Resident Evil was originally supposed to be, which was you're sort of in one location, like you're in like a house, or set of houses, and you're doing the puzzles. You are not very good at you're not a fucking combat pro, Chris BSAA, machine guns and grenades. You're like a dude who barely knows how to handle a gun.
Trying to come get his girl.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like psychological horror, there's gore horror, there's jump scares. There's so many types of horror interwoven into this narrative that I can almost guarantee that it will scare almost anyone at some point. Maybe not the whole game.
Because you're
There'll
just
be a
so
thing
helpless.
that gets to you.
I think you showed us the jump scare that got both you and Nerdez because you had to
I
pause it
paused the
immediately.
fucking game.
But the thing was like right in your face.
Because you're kind of like helpless in this one. Like, it's scary.
And
this one seemed the most horror-based.
Yeah.
But like I said, this is our modern horror games. This is the stuff that will have jump scares, will be like in your face.
Yeah, because I like those games like
but it's
Outlast or
great.
like Fatal Frame, because
Yeah.
like you're so helpless. Like you're just a normal person. You're not some army person. Like, you just come in there, you're just trying to
Right.
save a
This,
person.
I related a lot to the Evil Within too, though, because you did have a lot of like parts where you technically had to hide because
Yeah.
you didn't know how to like do it, or like your gun's gonna go straight through it and then it's gonna attack you and you're dead
I
anyway.
know, I didn't even like
and
that
so
game.
right, and so it's just like
The
this makes the most sense.
the
for
enemies
Resident
were
Evil.
scary. The story is good.
It is.
This is the only one with acting worth a salt, and it's not great acting, but it's
good for what we got.
It's not groaning. Like, you're not going, oh god,
It's pretty
No,
good because, like,
don't open that
they were
door.
like, VR, we gotta have decent acting.
Yeah.
Like, and it was pretty good when those people were up in your face. I was like, get out of my face,
And
please.
VR.
I'm gonna die. Don't make me eat that.
VR, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, there's this. I can almost guarantee this game's probably going to disturb you in some way.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Yeah, it's not Jill Sandwich, exactly. And yes, you can play 7 in VR, and I don't know that I can do it. I might try, maybe,
I'll play Rick and Morty for VR. and that's
but
it.
I don't know that I could do it. But yeah, I usually don't get hit with jump scares very much. Like, if something jumps out at me, I'm
no,
like,
this was gonna
oh,
scare
that
you."
was scary. But this one, like you said, I paused the game and I was like, oh my god, I jumped so much that I paused the game.
Yeah, that one was really scary. There's a scary game on Steam right now that's pretty popular. It's like one of the top
Vanish?
ones. Yes.
Yeah, I saw someone playing it the other day.
I watched
It's in early
Markiplier.
access.
Yeah.
That looks
Great. Oh my god. Watching it jump scared me. Like,
Really?
Yes, watching it scared me. Cuz like you just have a camera and it's terrifying and I was like, "Oh my god." But it was great.
And launching in 2019, this game is not out yet, but next year in January, we're going to get the remake of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
This will be on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And similar to the way that they remade the first one, the way that they described it was that we're not just looking at this as just a remake. We're really much, in the way we remade the first one, want this to be sort of like the next entry and not just replaying what you've done. So I'm extremely, extremely excited. This is going to use the same engine as Resident Evil 7. It won't be in first person, I don't think, but it will be using that engine from the...
Because I think that's what made it scarier
So
too.
from what you've seen, is it going to be like 7, 6, whatever? 7, where there's jump scares where you might have to go to the bathroom or
I don't know. See, I think what made 7 so scary was because it was in first person.
Yeah.
Like
and
it
so
was
unknown,
yeah.
too.
But when you're playing as like an actual like character and like third person, it's kind of more predictable.
You're a little bit more detached. Also, this game we've played before. Again, a remake and new stuff in
Yeah.
it. But because they're going to have to go the extra mile to make it scary because we're going to be familiar with a lot of elements of it. So, yeah. My favorite one was 7. It made me scared again, Like the first one or the second one was sort of the first games that really scared the shit out of me. And then 7 again, like, really affected me. Do you guys have like a favorite, like one that you enjoy?
I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the first GameCube.
Is there one that you would play now that we've gone through the list?
I have played the GameCube one. I didn't
Yeah.
play it for long, but that's why I always kind of like tip my hat to GameCubers because the GameCube was cheap and nobody wanted to buy it, but you get a good horror game or you get a good action game, you're gonna be blown away with the quality that you're getting for the price cut that you bought.
Especially on the GameCube, yeah, for
Like,
sure.
and it's Nintendo. You don't expect it.
Yeah.
But they're on par. So I'd say the GameCube.
Is there any of these that you'd
I
go
want
back
to
and want to
play
play?
7.
You do want to play 7?
I want to play 7, but, and I know you guys talked a little bit about the Evil Within last week.
Uh-huh.
It's just like Bloodborne for me. I cannot get past the first 10 minutes. And it's not that I'm scared. It's the fact that I get so irritated, and then if I get scared, I'm just that much more. I'm not gonna play this game.
You're just in a bad mood
Yes,
now.
I'm just in a straight up bad mood, and then I just don't want to play.
One thing that Resident Evil 7 does also to harken back to the original Resident Evil game is this is for the first time, and I'm 90% sure about this because I didn't read anything on it, but I think I can tell. Resident Evil 7 uses FMV again for the first time since the original Resident Evil. All the characters are CG, and the majority of the game is CG in the cutscenes. But at the beginning, in the intro, like in the first Resident Evil,
Yeah.
the the car driving and like the fields, those are like shot by film segments.
Yes, yes.
So it's just like a little bit of like homage to our roots. The chicken turned out great, sis Shark. Fantastic.
Because she's been cooking this entire time with us on.
Yeah. So we don't have enough time to like go deep into the Resident Evil films, but there are 6 films. The first one takes place, and you can
We should just do a marathon day.
We
just
shouldn't.
blam through all 6. Bree, what's the problem?
I'm sorry, I just can't. They're so bad. They're so bad. They're just,
I
and they will be
thought
like, you would much rather.
Loved me.
You would much rather just like play the games. Like, what are those
But
movies?
it's like inspiration.
Do you want to watch them?
I would want to watch
I already
them
have
and then
to.
play, because like if they're bad movies, I feel like as good as these games sound, the games are gonna redeem the cheesy, corny movies.
I will say the like CGI ones, like the anime ones, I guess you could say, are decent.
There's 6 films. We'll see you next week. Yeah, Jimmy. So the first one is sort of like kind of B horror movie-esque, but it kind of takes itself seriously. The second one,
watch these things with me.
the
I don't
second
like
one just
B-rated
straight up
films.
goes like into like, you know what? Let's just like fucking horse around, okay? So like the first movie sort of tries to be a prequel to
Good,
what
yeah.
happens with the virus, and talks about like just this specific instance of how it gets into the mansion and what happened with the Umbrella Corporation right at the beginning. And then the movie takes the main character Alice and makes her her own like tyrant.
Thank you, Shark.
Thing.
See, Shark's got my back.
I already have to watch those with my boyfriend. He made me watch a beaver like zombie movie.
Oh my god, it's Zombievers on Netflix.
Oh god. Oh my god. He's like, this is so good, right? I was like,
See, y'all don't need to ask me about my horror choosings, because Peter got me Sleepaway Camp after I've been begging.
oh, hold on. Sorry. I need you to get Friday the 13th on the PlayStation. It's free right now, and we can play. And I'm gonna kill you. I want to be Jason. So, I just wanted to let you know. Let's get it. Play for
But by the
free.
way, all this is happening right this
For the record, this is all on camera. So if I die, we know.
Thanksgiving is quite a thing as well.
Oh my God.
With the turkey.
We should do a Thanksgiving podcast and do
There's
a
some
co-op.
fucked up shit in that movie. Like even by horror movie standards, there's some fucked up shit in that
And
movie.
what?
Thanksgiving.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
You guys
It's-
need to watch Sleepaway
It's
Camp.
rough.
Because like it was an 80s
Gobble gobble.
Yeah, gobble gobble motherfucker is the tagline of the film.
It's an 80s like series, but they're like hitting current events. Like there's a hint on trans, there's a hint on gay, there's like everything we're having to go through right now, and I'm just like, this is such a great
Horror
series.
movies that deal with social issues are the best horror movies. But so in terms of the Resident Evil films though, I really like 5 because it was sort of Hunger Games-y, because the premise of the 5th film was Alice wakes up in like a facility and each pod is like a different terrain. So
yeah.
like she goes through like different like cityscapes and stuff like that. And the films become their own soap opera thing that are largely divorced from the
do.
game. It's like the first 2 movies are very gamey.
Yeah.
Like they're very like Resident Evil, Raccoon City, zombie stuff. And then the zombies stay, and then Alice goes and like does her own thing. That intense learning game. All right, it's the end of the show. I've kept you guys here long enough. Let's
do
go to the
3.
can. 3?
Yeah.
But we're running out. We got to make it through the end of the year.
So okay.
we gotta scale
all
it back.
All right, you know what?
We gotta scale it back.
We got to scale it back. You can't blow it all on this one. Also, next week, guys.
All right, you guys rock paper scissors for it.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Dang it.
So Steven won.
Yes.
Next week
grab
is
inside
game
the
night
tin.
again. We're gonna try and find something Halloween-y or horror-y to do. I don't know how.
Why don't we play Left 4 Dead?
Oh, when are we doing the anime one?
Do Left 4 Dead.
I gotta get ready.
Why
Your
Play
anime was a
Left 4
week
Dead.
after next.
You better be ready for anime.
In 2 weeks. 2 weeks from tonight, you have an anime segment at the end of our
didn't
atmosphere and
know.
horror games.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
right? I prepared you
Right?
for this. I
Oh my
prepared you for this
Oh,
moment.
if you guys want to add something to the fan
another.
can, you can tweet us at Gunner using #fancan, or you can click right there, and there's like a little thing, and you can use your nerd cred that you earn from watching to add questions to the fan can.
Yeah, give us more, please.
We need more.
All the things.
Ah.
All the questions.
Here's a good question. How long is too long when it comes to pooping?
If I'm on the pot for more than 10 minutes, we got a problem.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't poop very long. I think 30 minutes is a long time.
30 minutes long?
Yeah.
So how long is too long when it comes to, I'm going to say like 14 inches. Like that's way too long.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Someone goes
way too long.
37 inches.
Velocidotus, yeah, got it. He got it there
my
right
God.
right at the buzzer. Good job, Dotus.
I
Feet?
I don't know why I didn't go to feet, but I went to time.
I went to
That's
time.
fine.
Oh, shit.
I think we could all perceive that answer in a different way.
Guys, go play a Resident Evil game. I want you. This is my favorite series, and you could just go pick one, any one.
Hold
Don't
on.
worry about the lore because
Wait.
it's not going to make fucking sense
Wait.
anyway. What?
How many feet did you say?
I didn't say feet.
How many? What did you say?
He said
I
14
said 14 inches is probably too long.
Someone said 37 inches.
So
sorry,
go play a
I'm
Resident Evil
just-
game. They're great. You can start with any one you want, and if you like any of them, then expand it. Go back. Most of them are available to be played in some form or fashion through Steam, or if you have a PS3, you can play some of the old PS1 classics on the PS3 on that one. And
We broke Lauren.
even we broke. We sure did.
I'm trying to imagine a foot-long poop that's normal. It broke me.
So have you ever? No, I think I've asked this question. Never mind.
I wanted to know.
I do too.
Okay, have you ever gone to somewhere in public, like a public restroom, restaurant, whatever, and you go into the stall, and there is poop in the toilet, and there is toilet paper on the roll, but there is no toilet paper in the toilet?
No, I have never.
What is the story
But
on
I've-
that?
So,
I'm a little
for the
perplexed
record,
by it.
I think men do that and women don't because I've always.
God, we're fucking disgusting.
Sorry.
There's always poop and toilet paper
Yes,
in the women's
but
bathroom.
it's like,
it's like a lot.
It's almost like they tried to clog the toilet. They just didn't want to
Yes.
flush.
And Dota says, and I always wonder. Yeah, I'm like, what did you do?
I think it's a dude thing that they don't have toilet paper because in the women's restroom, if there's an unflushed anything, there's so much toilet paper. Yeah, it's like they just tried to cover
We'll
it
just
up.
bury it.
We're like cats. We just don't have enough litter.
That's fantastic. On the floor, and the paper was in the toilet.
Disgusting.
Oh, JB said he accidentally went to the women's bathroom at Chick-fil-A, and it was heavenly.
Oh, I'm a little perplexed that you
Chick-fil-A,
went
but
to the women's
it's
bathroom on
Chick-fil-A.
accident. And then it's Chick-fil-A.
It's a
My
Chick-fil-A.
pleasure,
They'll send you,
know?
to prison. They'll send you to prison
And they'd
for
be
that,
like, my
Chick-fil-A.
pleasure.
Oh, sorry. My pleasure.
Pleasure.
They're gonna be like this. My pleasure.
Okay, so yeah, next week is going to be game night, so we're going to try and find something spoopy or Halloweeny or something to do with game night, but you guys are supposed to be versusing each other, not together, which is why I'm not sure Left 4 Dead.
I have a question.
But it might. Yeah. And then we'll end it.
Either next week or the week after.
Yeah. Duh.
Do you want us to dress up for Halloween?
Oh, our Halloween one will be on in 3 weeks, and we will be in costume.
Okay,
And
I'm ready.
What are you going
not
to dress up as?
I'll tell you after.
not next week, but so next week is game night. The podcast after that is atmosphere and horror games and anime horrors suggestions. And that podcast will either be our first podcast in the new studio or our last podcast before we get the new studio. So it'll either be that podcast or the one after that. We'll be in the new studio. We're going to look nice. It's going to be great. Don't forget to click. Well, there's a studio remodel right there, our meter. So if you want to hit Command Fundraiser, donate to Streamlabs.
Amazing.
It'll
Okay, Steven
go
has
up.
no idea what's going on.
I don't know what it is.
But
It's a
it's gonna
surprise
be
to me.
fantastic.
But
I know.
Please donate.
seen it.
It's going to be great.
fantastic.
Do it.
So you guys, thanks for coming by. My name is Steven.
Bree.
Lauren.
And we'll see you next time.